Urban Therapy with Sun 752. This year daily go getism number 869 for February 18th, 2017. All right, so tonight we're talking about knowing that they ain't right, but we still mess with them anyway. We still listen to them anyway. We still take advice from them anyway. We still deal with them anyway. What we're basically talking about tonight is when we deal with people that we know. We may know them and love them or like them or appreciate them or tolerate them or whatever the case may be, but we know that they ain't really all of that right. Some of them may be a little throwed off, as we used to say. You know what throwed off is? Throwed off is when you're a little bit crazy. You're a little bit touched. You know what I mean? You ain't 100%, but you ain't all the way crazy. You know, you still have some good sense about you, or you have a really good skill that can be utilized and put to good use, or you know, you just may be a knowledgeable person, or a friendly person, whatever. You bring something to the table that people really, really like, and in exchange for that, they have to put up with your quirkiness. They have to put up with your little craziness. Now, sometimes it can be a more severe situation because there are times when it can be that you really are like straight certifiable crazy. You know, it could be a situation where you've had to be committed a few times or whatever. Does that mean that you're all the way crazy? Well, I guess in a clinical sense you are. But that doesn't mean that you don't know anything. It doesn't mean that you've never learned anything. It doesn't mean that you don't bring something to the table that somebody can appreciate. And it definitely doesn't mean that people don't like you or appreciate you or love you or care about you. So you might even be the type of person that people might take a little advice from if they know that you've had expertise in a certain area. Because maybe you weren't always just like totally whacked out crazy. There may have been a time when you were that genius. You know, there's a thin line between genius and insanity. And when people recognize that you were once what you were, they're always going to try to tap back into that. And that's probably a good thing. Unfortunately, some of these people who are mentally ill are people that are close to us. Sometimes they are our moms and our dads. Sometimes they are our brothers and sisters. Sometimes they are aunts and uncles and cousins and you know, friends. And I mean, you know, just because somebody isn't what they used to be, that doesn't mean that you leave them behind. It doesn't mean that you cut them off. But it may mean that you have to stop dealing with them for a minute because they may be so whacked out that you may be in harm's way by dealing with them. You never know, man. Especially if it's really a serious thing, like they're psychotic or they're schizophrenic to the point where they hear voices, and it can get ugly. I mean, you watch the news, you watch the ID channel. You know what can happen when a person really has a lot of screws loose up there. But what about other people? Other people that are just a little bit quirky, just a little bit, you know. Does everybody that we take advice from or that we draw knowledge or wisdom from, are all of them straight shooters? Are all of them 100%? Or do we extract the part that we need and leave the rest over there where it came from or where it may be useful to somebody else? Sometimes we have to make a decision in that department. It's not that we're using people, but in a way we are using people, but people are available for use. The same way we are available for use. You know, somebody asks us to do something, assist them with something, help them with something. Hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. It is what it is. You know, it's something that we have to deal with. It's not all that bad, though. It's not all that bad at all. One thing is for sure is, you know, you're not going to get through life without knowing somebody that has had some type of a mental or emotional shakeup in their lives. It may not have gone as far as being a nervous breakdown or something that has affected them to the point where they couldn't deal or make any type of conscious, well-informed decisions anymore. But you know, A struggle is a struggle. I think it's probably safe to say that we've all, once you get to a certain age, I would say about 30 years old, even though that seems young, but by the time most of us get to 30 years old, more than likely we have experienced some point in our lives where we thought we were going cuckoo, 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 cuckoo. It happens. It may just have been an anxiety attack, or you could have been under a lot of stress, anxiety, depression, sadness, grief, going through mourning. Ooh, sorry about that, y'all. What I mean by that is mourning the death of a loved one. It can take some people over the edge. And can't forget about drug use, drug and alcohol abuse. Some of us have gone through that, where, you know, we have abused drugs and alcohol, and, you know, maybe we have even gone as far as to become addicted to those things, and we weren't making the best decisions in our lives, but people still messed with us. They still effed with us. They still fucked with us. And when you know that that's the case, you never forget that. So when you see somebody else slipping into darkness, you're gonna probably still be down to help them out. Or they may have been so useful to you that you still go to them for that good stuff. How many people don't have some type of crackhead, drug addict, or something like that knows how to fix cars well, or that knows that has carpentry skills out the wazoo, or knows how to do plumbing or electricity or whatever, you know, things that can help us out in our daily lives, things that we really need. I'm just gonna say, oh man, he crazy, he whacked out, or he's a drug addict, so I'm not gonna let him help me. It sounds dumb. They're people. They're not just drug addicts. They're not just crackheads. They're not just dope fiends. They're people. They're somebody's mothers and fathers and aunts and uncles and brothers and sisters and sons and daughters and cousins. I'm not sure if I said that. They're also co-workers and friends. Sometimes best friends, dearest friends, lifelong friends. So, you know, there's no real reason to front on people that may have a little quirkiness. I'll tell you this though. If you ever have felt like you were slipping into darkness, or you were losing your mind, going crazy, you wasn't losing your mind and going crazy. People who are losing their mind and going crazy think that they're normal as hell. They think that everybody else is just crazy out there. They never think that about themselves. It's one of those things we have to deal with. Grown man bars. Still ain't gonna equal up to this real shit. Good things happen to those who wait. Great things happen to those who grind, and anything can happen to those who go for theirs. So go hard, go for yours, and remember, when it all comes down to it, we have to deal with the cards that we've dealt as far as our people are concerned. Yeah, they might be a little crazy. Yeah, they might be a drug addict. Yeah, they might be a drunk. Yeah, they might just be totally whacked out and be on some space age shit, or they got involved in some type of organization or religion that has them thinking all kinds of crazy stuff. But that doesn't mean that they don't have value, and doesn't mean that they can't be a good friend. It doesn't mean that you're not going to love them. It doesn't mean that they won't be useful. It doesn't mean that they can't give out good advice. It doesn't mean any of those things. What it means is that we have to make adjustments and decide for ourselves what's useful for us versus what isn't. The Daily Go Get 'Emism show is every single day, 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Call-in number is 319-527-6199. blogtalkradio.com/Sun752. Peace. Y'all have a good night.